Welcome to the Black Spray Hood podcast. Today we're interviewing Rena Mills, a cultural and heritage guide from the island of Carriacou, one of the 3 inhabited islands that make up Grenada. So Rena, what can you tell us about Carriacou?
I can tell you that I know you probably would have heard this before when you arrived here, that Carriacou is the best place in the world. I don't mean to take away from anyone else, but Carriacou, we're pretty small. We are the largest Grenadian island. We're just 13 miles square. The people here, we are very, very friendly, and they'll treat us family. The people are very welcoming, they're very hospitable. Carriacou is also very safe. Carriacou, and when I speak of Carriacou, I also mention our sister island, Petite Martinique. Very, very safe. You can walk the streets with money in your hand. You can leave your doors open. You can wander at night. You can sit in your room or sleep with your doors and windows open. It's very safe. The crime rate is very, very low. And I think that those are some of the reasons why people love Carriacou.
Yeah, we've really been enjoying our time here. Can you tell us what are some of the important cultural traditions that you have here?
We started from, if I can speak from since the days of the plantation, there are many traditions which were handed down to us by our foreparents. We were once inhabited by the French and later on the British. So we can speak of, and Carriacou and Petite Martinique, we are the mecca of culture. As a matter of fact, we are known as the cradle of culture because of these many traditions which we still practice to date, which is very, very authentic. And yes, we are part of Grenada, but I can say that we are even more authentic than the traditions which are practiced in Grenada, some of which are Shakespeare Mass. The portrayal of Shakespeare Mass, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but Carriacou is the only place in the world where one can witness this type of Mass. More or less, it happens on Carnival Tuesday morning, and this Mass stems from since the days of plantation. Colorfully dressed masqueraders reciting lines from William Shakespeare from the book of Julius Caesar. And with the fumble of a line, they receive a bull because the bull forms part of the uniform. This is the whip which they hold in their hand during the portrayal of the Mass. So Shakespeare Mass, it is authentic to Carriacou. Carnival Tuesday morning, everyone comes out in the glory, whether it be men, whether it be women, whether it be children, the entire community comes out to participate in this. And people would tell you, I remember my grandparents, and old people, they would say to you, I remember my grandparents or my great-grandparents doing it, and we're continuing in the legacy. We also have a big drum dance. We are from African descent. So of course, this dance stem from the days of the plantation. Our foreparents, the enslaved, they were given just one day to celebrate. And that one day, while they were dancing, they saw the similarities in the movements. And that's how they know which tribe they were from. So they were connecting to the tribe that came from Africa because they came from Africa. So the tribes, so for example, we have the Igbo, the Temne. And when I speak of the Temne, I can also mention to you that in 2016, the Temne tribe from Africa came here to connect with the loved ones. And I was part of that celebration. It was grand. Everything that we do here, the food that we cook, our dances, the things that we say, it is quite similar to those of Africa. And that's the reason why we say we are all Africans. So these are some. We have the quadrille dance, the English quadrille dance. We have string band music. String band music, you would find it during the Christmas season, going around from door to door and serenading. So we still practice quite a lot of traditions here. We also have our tombstone feast. Whenever someone dies, 2 years after they die, then a stone is erected in honor of that person with their name. And on that day, it is a celebration for the community as well. You do not have to be invited to attend the celebration. So it starts early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, with the hoisting of the stone, the wetting of the ground, because libation forms part of our culture as well, throwing rum and water on the ground in honor of our ancestors. So we have many traditions which are practiced to date and are still authentic. And to speak about it, it will take the entire day.
Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned that there's connections with some peoples in Africa. Do people in Carriacou come from particular areas in Africa? Has that
West Africa.
from West Africa?
From West Africa. Um, from West Africa. Sierra Leone, yes.
Yeah, because I saw in the
Sierra
museum
Leone.
that they had the exhibition just on Sierra Leone. So
Right. And those were the tribe who visited us in 2016 from Ghana. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do people here keep in contact with people in Sierra Leone and Ghana and?
The connection, it is not there per se, but when we speak of West Africa, we remember the enslaved who came here to work on our plantations. I know that many people who have money, who have finance, they go to Africa to see where their foreparents came from. Right, so we speak of the Ilmina Castle, and people will tell you that they went there just to see what it was, where they kept the enslaved before sending them off to the different islands. And it is something that is dear to them, something that is authentic to them, and those are the memories that we cannot take away from, that they cannot take away from us. I want to go to Africa too. I would just want to go there to experience, just to walk into the building where my foreparents were kept, just forming part of that memory. Others speak of it, it is dear to them, it is something that they'll remember forever. Some people speak of how emotional they were when they got to Africa. So one day I would really like to go and experience that myself.
Well, we went to a Maroon Ceremony in the village of Bogles. Can you explain what is a Maroon Ceremony?
Okay, so a maroon is a freed or a runaway slave. The feast, it is something that we still keep to date. What we refer to now as villages, they were once plantations. So everything that you see in Carriacou, they were once plantations worked by the enslaved. If you remember me saying to you before that they were given one day to celebrate, and that one day they formed themselves into unity to cook. Besides that, a Maroon is a freed slave or runaway slave. During the days of the plantation, it was very hard for them staying there, labor for nothing at all. So some of them, they ran into the bushes, they hid themselves, ran into the bushes, ran into the hills, and formed themselves into groups, which they refer to as the Maroons. While there, they cooked together, they danced together. And this is what we still practice, and this is what it is dear to us, and we still celebrate to date. All right, so just take that. This is what we celebrate to date, the Maroon. So the Maroon is held in different villages. As I said, there were once estates, so it is held in different villages to date. It starts in Carriacou. I know it starts with the Mount Pleasant Maroon, and it ends with the Bogus Maroon. So you happen to see the final Maroon, which is held in Carriacou during the season.
Right.
It is done mostly in the dry season, and it is more or less asking our ancestors for blessing, asking our ancestors for rain, because here it is very dry. So it consists of very early in the morning. Just a minute. Yes, it starts very, very early in the morning, 6 o'clock, because the enslaved, they woke very early to go to the plantations. So it starts as we say, the cock crow. It starts then with the blowing of the shell, conch shell. When everyone hears that conch shell, they know that the Maroon is going to start. Following that will be the libation, the wetting of the ground, throwing rum and water, but they must throw the water on the ground first before the spirits, in honor of our ancestors, of course. Following that immediately will be the cooking of the food, the Maroon food, smoked food as we call it, or the saraka is the traditional dish of Carriacou. It consists of everything because it is an African dish. It consists of everything from our farm, everything from our garden. So there's rolled rice. Rice, white rice, is cooked softly and rolled into balls. We do not grow rice in Carriacou, but because it is an African dish, hence the reason why the rice forms part of that meal. We also cook cornmeal. Cornmeal is from corn, of course, as they call it maize. So the corn is grown into our garden. It is dried. It is grind fine, and then it is cooked and rolled into balls, which we refer to as rolled cook. There's also peas, pigeon peas or dry peas as we call it, stew peas. It forms part of the dish. And provision of ground provision, yam, dashings, and also our bananas, green bananas, or plantain. Then there is the meat. As I said, it's everything from our farm. So there is pork from pig, mutton from sheep, our yard fowl, which is grown in our yard.
Yeah.
A lot of people call it yardies.
Okay.
It forms part of the meal, and sometimes beef.
Okay.
From cow.
Okay. Wow. And we saw that the whole community gets to eat for free. I think somebody mentioned that the government supports this.
There are many people who support it because, as you see, it is not an event where people pay.
Yeah.
So the community or the committee that is hosting the Maroon, for example, in Bogos, one of the villages you saw, there are people in that community who will go out and ask for support in hosting Maroon because everything comes with a cost. So you'll probably ask, and that is what happened long ago. You'll probably ask someone for some peas, you would ask for some corn, you would ask for some money to get drinks because everything is given for free on that day. So hence the reason why different people comes in and loan support to the activity.
Okay. No, I thought it was really such a lovely, inclusive event. And with the music, they play the big drum. Can you explain what big drum is?
Right. So big drum, as I said, it started since the days of the plantation. In big drum, it shows the movement. So the hand movement, the waist movement, the feet movement, especially. There are different dances in the big drum dance. The dances are the different tribes which were brought here from Africa. So as I mentioned, so if you hear them in the opening, they would speak of Cromanti. So Cromanti was one of the strongest spirits during the days of the plantation. He was very instrumental in the emancipation. So this is the song that is used to open the ring. So part of the Cromanti song. Then there is a Temne. You hear them say Temneo. And most of the songs, they're done in Patois. They're done in Patois. So you hear Temneo, Temneo. Since we're born, we never see Temneo. Temnon. And they'll dance to that. And there's Igbo. And in more or less the different tribes which were brought here from Africa, when they dance, then these are the tribes that they celebrate. So more or less and during the big drum dance, there are 3 drums that are used for beating. So there is a cut drum and there are 2 side drums, and they would say to you that the cut drums, this is the loudest drum, this is this drum with the most rhythm, and more or less it's just one big celebration in the movements and in celebration and honor of our ancestors from Africa.
And the dance that we saw, they had 2 white towels.
Yes.
What's the significance of that?
I know white is a sign of peace, right? So in most dances, they'll use a white flag. A white rag. For dancing. And with the movement of the rag, more or less is the tribe from Africa. So there are some dances that you probably would have seen without the rag, and some they dance with the rag, and even. In stopping of the drum, I'm not sure if you saw that as well. Once they finish that dance, every dancer, once that's the end of that tribe, the end of that song, they use this cut to go to the drum to stop it. So once they go over the drum, it covers the drum, then all musicians stop.
Yeah. And what about the long skirts? Yes,
it's just part of the uniform, as I said. As with different different traditions as well. For example, the Shakespeare Mass, the colorfully dressed. So more or less, it's just demonstrating the different colors of our freedom, the long skirts for better movements, and showing the flair and the glamour on that day of the dancers.
Wow. So these, I can see that these traditions are really passed down through the community. Do students in school also learn about their African heritage?
Of course, it is something that is it does not form part of the school curriculum, but what I can say, I know there are many groups who go into the school to teach the culture. There are many groups as well who teach after school or even during the holiday season. There are many people in the diaspora who sponsor as well, send uniforms and cloths and materials so that uniforms can be sewn. I can make mention of a group which I form part of, the Carriacou Culture Trained String Band Group. It is a group every year during the month of July, during the summer break, for 3 weeks during July. We invite parents to send their children to the Bella Park. This is where it's held. Bella Park is also known as Maroon Village. And there, the program is held on Monday to Friday from 9 to 12, where the children learn string band music. String band music, you have the string instruments, which came from Europe, and the African instrument, like the drum, the percussion instrument, the shak shak, the tok tok, the iron. They learn to play that. And on Fridays, they learn to do the dances. So the English quadrille, the European dances, and also the African dances, the big drum dances. So they learn to do that during the close of the school vacation.
Oh, that's really good that the students get.
Of course, we
Yes.
have to continue the legacy of our foreparents. As
Yeah.
you'll often hear people say, we're born and meet it, and we must continue what our foreparents left for us. So
Yeah.
we must pass it on. We wouldn't be here forever. Now the children are growing. This
Yeah.
is the right place to start with them.
Yeah.
And once it is with them, we know it is there for another century or so.
Do you think that Carriacou is more connected to these traditions than other Caribbean islands?
All the Caribbean islands, of course, they do have something in common. The fact that our enslaved, our foreparents came from Africa, so there are similarities. For example, the traditional wedding in Carriacou, when someone's going to get married, then the community forms part of that in the meeting up the morning of the wedding. Both the family of the bride and the groom, the dance is the cake, the dance is the flag with string band music. Then you would see that happening in St. Vincent, for example, the Grenadine Island of Union. But more or less, they use big drum music instead of string band. So it is something that is spread through the Caribbean. I hope I don't sound too biased if I say that it is more authentic in Carriacou.
So, if you were to sum up Carriacou in 3 words that you would want to attract tourists to come and visit, what would those 3 words be?
3 words. So culture, of course.
Culture,
Culture, the people,
the people,
and the environment. The fact that
environment.
the fact that Carriacou is pristine, it is pure, and recently, I'm not sure if you heard that we were voted best beach in the Caribbean.
Really?
Paradise Beach
Paradise
in the
Beach?
US's top Reader's Choice. Our very own 30 square miles, Carriacou, very small. We were voted the best beach in the Caribbean. And it's because we're not taking away anything from it. The old rustic look, just there. And someone come on Paradise Beach, they can get food to eat, they can get drinks, and just the old way of it being what it is. I think that is part of the reason why it won. Many beaches nowadays, you see so many investment taking place, but then no, we do not want that. We just want it to remain just the way it is, and I think that's one of the reasons why. Another thing is that on Paradise Beach, at no point you would find large gathering. when swimming on the beach. So, of course, after COVID, when people travel, they want to go to somewhere where they know, of course, the water is pristine, the place is nice, the island is very clean, the beach is very clean as well, nice white sand beach. I want to go somewhere where I can swim, knowing that there would not be a crowd. And I think that's one of the reasons why Paradise Beach won again and what makes Carriacou stand out.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. I hope I gave you the information.
That was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
No, really, really interesting. No,
Thank you.
Thank you.